Good morning, everyone. Today is Monday, July the 10th. My name is Anne-Marie Band, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. Let's take a look, remembering from a monthly formation, we had a really big June. We're coming into July, giving off a little bit of heat. We're starting the earnings season. Today's a little quiet, but take a look at this. Remember last week when I was saying, hey, listen, we've got upward flow. We could get to the bottom of the ribbon here. My thought is we could even come down into the deeper support. This area around 44.11 is going to be that first line in the sand. Remember, I also said in my pre-market notes, listen, 44.35-ish going to be a region that we battle around. We've come up to 44.40 and some change and run right into sellers. Relative to the two prior days, we are making lower highs and lower lows as we speak. Bounces are going to be sell zones. I just believe it's a natural profit-taking environment right now. Just a little bit of cooling, little bit of sideways action. Don't really expect anything monumental. And if we do see some slides into deeper support actions, my suspicion is that buyers will come to the fore and protect the environment because they are still waiting for new information. What might that be? What are the earnings season reports going to tell us? And how is the CPI on Wednesday going to really affect us? Tomorrow, I think we have something there, but I can't remember what it is. That being said, because we've got the news coming, people are not going to position in front of it. And as a matter of fact, we're seeing lots of data points that are saying, hey, listen, people are sort of unwinding their hedges, particularly as we grind into the latter part of the month. All right, that's it from that perspective. Notice this is our battleground. If we come into this zone in the early part of the morning or anytime during the day, we come back into this 44.10 area, we're going to see buyers, but that doesn't really feel like the trend per se. So I would go down to a very tight time frame and make sure that they stabilize with the motion that we see that tells us we've got upside pressure. And what does that look for? It is a fail to hold lower and a breach above old areas of congestion. And so that's what we're looking for right there in the ES. As we take a look at the NQ, same sort of environment, come right back down into the ribbon, right into the heavy congestion area. This is the reason I say, hey, listen, don't buy it as it comes into the zone. Let the flow come in and then pick it up as it returns. So how does that look? Well, since it just happened, let's go to a tight time frame. Let's look at a 3-minute time frame and see how the flow looked at 15,001. Where was it? 108? Oh, for heaven's sakes. Man, I got to hit like a sieve. I cannot remember. Diddly. Yeah, 108. For some reason, it's not showing up on the very tight time frame, that level, but we know what it is. Let's go to a 5-minute, and let's go to that 108 zone. Take a look. As we move into the region, here's what happens at 108, right? It comes into the region of 108 and loses the zone. I mean, absolutely loses that zone. And so let's put it here so we can see it. 108. All right, there we have it. Collapses right through it and then recovers. But hey, listen, if you don't have 30 points of a stop, you're going to blow through that. And then you're going to be chopping around and figuring out X, Y, or Z. So if you know 108 is the big number, you know you've got to breach it. Look what happens. It comes in, tests resistance. That's the first thing that tells you there's a shot to the upside. Still negative pressure though. So even if you're shorting, you can short right back down into the lows. If it comes into the low areas, you're great. If it comes into a higher low, even better. And then old resistance at that 108 becomes new support. Bob's your uncle. Yes, wow, wouldn't it be great if I came down and caught this? Yeah, it would be great, but that's a totally different mechanic, right? If you know 108 is the number to breach so that you've got upside pressure that's going to give you 80 points, right? Which is, what, 320 ticks in here. What you want to look for is, can I get up over there and stay there? If you're trying for a bottoming, then what you want to do is, yes, it hits resistance. Does it come back? Does it hold a higher low? If that answer is yes, then yeah, you can chase it, and then your stop becomes 10 points instead of 35 or 40 points, and you're off to the races. Okay, spent a lot of time there on technique of entry/re-entry. Don't really want to do that all the time because it really does eat into the size of everything that's happening in the chart. So what are we doing right now? Sorry, I still have a trade. That's why my voice faded. I'm looking at another chart. What are we doing right now? Well, we're trying to recover back up above this 438. Guess who's there at the first pass? Oh, that's going to be sellers. Why? High, low, lower, high, lower, low, inside bar, lower, low, bounce into the inside bar. You're going to find sellers at that first edge of the inside bar. Now, are the sellers going to penetrate down? I have no idea. But what I do know is if I take a short here and I get up over the open of the prior day, I'm probably going to be wrong in this position. Could give me a little bit of a squishy point. I might have to re-enter if I'm going short. But if it holds above the open of that prior downside day, that means traders are saying, wait a second, I want to recover into the body of the candlestick, or I want to retrace the entire range of the inside candlestick of the prior day. And that really is what the chart action is going to be after. Here in SPY, we're at the bottom of the ribbon. First pass in upward pressure into heavy congestion, going to bring buyers. I have not moved these levels since the last time we did a video. Same thing, comes right into the heavy congestion. First group of people, they're going to be buyers. Buyers are going to try and push it up. If they can't, they're going to rotate down, might leak a little lower, but in general today, I do expect that we sit sideways in the formation. I do not see any catalysts that can push us up over the edge, and any kind of volatile movement is very likely to be retraced in some form or fashion under the premise that we are still sitting in sideways choppy action and trying to retrace the prior week's candlestick formation in some measurable form. All right, the other thing, last thing I want to look at, let's look at oil. Okay, so my thought was oil ought to reject this area, right? So I'm thinking to myself, hey, that ought to be a short. Well, guess what? It blew right past it. So if I come in here and I go, hey, I'm going to short 42.72, and it starts breaching that, I'm going to go to these wicks and I'm going to go, you know what? 40 cents is all I'm giving myself here. Very leveraged product. I'm going to wait until it goes to another resistance edge. So what is that? Well, look at the weekly formations. It's this region right here. Are we in something that is very sideways? Yes. I think oil gives all of this back. I think there's no catalyst. No catalyst for motion at this juncture. So it's just going to be slog until something gives. Now, I love oil as a long. I just don't love oil as a long here. Okay? And so if you have been long and you get to this place, I'd say take some profit. Now, if it comes into 72 and it holds the zone, or 71.87, then you're looking at something that says, hey, my pullbacks are going to be buy zones. And right now, that does tell us that from the daily formation, just not from the weekly formation. The weekly formation says, hey, I've lost this zone. I'm going to come back into heavy congestion, and I'm going to chop around, and then I'm going to make another decision. And I suspect that that decision is going to be movement back into heavy congestion. Lastly, we'll take a look at gold. Heavens. Gold is sitting in a sideways space. I saw some folks going, hey, listen, I think it's time to buy gold. I, of course, do not think it's time to buy gold and hold it unless you're looking for some kind of day trade action, right? Sitting inside of a candlestick right now. Notice the higher lows here, but we are not having success taking it over the prior congestion highs. And so all of that tells me, hey, they're trying to buy the bottom. So if I want to buy, I better buy at the bottom. And then I got to realize that if I lose my heavy congestion zone, I got to get out of Dodge. I mean, for me, this is really what's going on. And it's very, very choppy. So my suspicion, once again, sideways pressure. I still think that this is where gold is heading, just based on general trajectories. Okay? But just my thought, and guess what? It can change if I break resistance and I pull back and get another higher low. Right now it's trying to bottom. But any kind of bottoming formation in downward pressure, the first thing it's going to do is try to breach resistance, try to hold a higher low, but if it doesn't keep breaching resistance, folks, it's going to fade. Just like this weekly pattern, it's going to show up right over here. All right, everyone, take care, and I'll see you all tomorrow on the Moneyball Morning Report.